We went live. We did it. What's up? Wait, I gotta move my thing over here. Oh no, wrong chat. Hello, peeps.
Hello,
Right.
peeps.
Yes, the peeps are here. Well, you guys all know me. I am Katie, aka Darth Turd. And I have with me Jason Douglas. Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Wave to the hi. So we have a couple of people in chat. Let me just say hey. We've got TM Nerdy, Travis. We've got the baby. We have Marlboro Matt. Hey. See, we got some Remy. We got John. Hey. We've got Beefaroni. Got Michael Baker. Got some Kev up in here. We got some Ben. Oh shoot. And we got some Bleaker. Hey.
I know some of these people.
Probably. You've probably seen them.
Fantastic.
You've jumped around a lot in the last couple of streams promoting some stuff. But yeah, a lot of these people are in Sith and Gary Vee and all those other channels.
Yeah.
You probably know these guys.
Very cool. Hi, everybody.
Yes. Hello.
Hi.
So we're here today to talk to Jason about his Kickstarter, Jane American. Woo! Yay! Which has officially been funded. Look at you. Shocking.
Unbelievable. We were kind of, you and I were secretly hoping that it would happen live on the show, but then we get to talk about, you know, how important stretch goals are and how amazing this process has been. 4 days in, I can't. I'm having a hard time believing it happened, but it happened today. I'm super excited.
It did, and you did it within record time. You did it pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Is this your first Kickstarter, or did you? Because you didn't do Parallel on the Kickstarter.
Yeah. So this is like one of the things that I used to talk about, like in interviews when I was doing Parallel, especially the first time around, or even some of the special edition interviews, was like how, you know, middle-aged me, post 40 years old, it was like being a 12-year-old the entire time because everything was the first time, right? Like, you know, like writing it was the first time, and signing that first contract with SourcePoint was the first time, and seeing a page come in and letters, like everything was first. And I truly, I truly thought that, hey, second time out, you know how to do everything. It's scary because you understand how failure can happen, but it's really comforting because I won't have to learn anything new again. And then I was reminded that 21st century comics are not made in the way that Parallel was made, which is a story maybe we can talk about tonight. But like, This is my first Kickstarter. So I have been terrified for months now about the prospects of this working, because you know what? Let's be honest with each other. I understand that this is the new method, and it's becoming more and more important, right? Because as distribution systems for like comics are kind of falling apart around our ears, what's happening is Kickstarter actually is not just how you fund things, but it's how you get things into the world and into people's hands and distribute it now too. So this is, I get that it's massive, but it doesn't take, Katie, any of the fear away from the all or nothing prospect, right?
Oh, I bet.
You fall one penny short and all your dreams come crashing down. And that was really, really scary. And so yeah, this is my very first one. And suddenly here we are funded, and we're going to talk about stretch goals, and we're going to talk about what it means to be funded, and then what it means to go beyond that, and what comes then next for Jane. So I couldn't be
okay. Nice. I do have the Kickstarter pull up. So how about we talk about the Jane first, and then I'll go to the Kickstarter. We'll walk through all that kind of stuff.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. So Jane American is my second book. And one way I'd like you to look at it is straight up a 32-page, one full-color, one-shot comic. It's introducing us to Jane's world. It's its own story, and it's serving as this introduction to a larger world. It's diving deep into the themes of identity, gender, self-worth, and small-town societal norms in wartime and post-wartime small-town America. Okay, you got hints of beloved stories like Superman for All Seasons, Archie 1941, and here's what I'm promising people about these 32 pages. You read Jane American, and it's going to break your heart. It's going to make you cheer. And I promise you, it's going to shock you with a cliffhanger ending that's going to have you begging for more. So we get into the story, and what we're talking about is Jane as a 15-year-old female protagonist in 1946. That's our present day, with some flashbacks 1943, 1941, and 1939. And Jane at our present day in 46, just post-war, is shouldering more than enough responsibility for a young girl coming of age in small town post-war America. Okay. Tragedy a couple of years earlier has changed her, has literally changed her in some unbelievable ways. That, for my comic book nerds, is code for a certain type of comic book that might be the most popular genre in the United States without me actually saying it out loud. Okay. She has changed in unbelievable ways. There are things that she can do that other people can't do that are better left hidden. Okay. Insert metaphor here. Economic hardships post-war, right? Dad's not coming home. Mom can no longer be Rosie because that's what we decided as a society after relying on our 51% female workforce to save our butts at home, back to the kitchen. So economic hardships after the war have basically left her with a choice. Okay. She can stay safe. She can stay hidden, or she can embrace who she really is for the sake of everybody that she loves, because there's some pretty tough decisions she's going to have to face. And it's a book that is important to me and I'm passionate about in a different way than anything else I've ever written, because like at some point I'm sure we'll talk about my first book, Parallel, but Parallel was a personal story because, you know, Landon in it is like going through what the kids are calling the quarter life crisis, existential dread of time passing, dreams deferred. And there might have been some motivational lighting flames under the butt of me going through a midlife crisis.
I might be slightly going through one right now.
so like that's personal in that way. And there's a lot of universal themes that people have related to, but this one's personal, not just because of what it means to me, but because it is inspired by and named after my late grandmother, who fought against, not entirely successfully, being put in that same kind of box of societal expectations in post-World War II America that Jane does, right? There's family names throughout the book, right? Like almost everybody named in this book is either the first name, last name, or some combination of real people from my life that lived through this era and went through this stuff, okay? It's set in historical Plymouth, Michigan, where I grew up, where my...
Local.
Yeah,
you're like 20 minutes from here.
My parents grew up, where my mom and her two sisters all taught school, where my grandparents, you know, my grandfather came back from World War II, and where my grandparents got married, and where my great grandfather actually worked in the actual factory that most of this story takes place in.
That's awesome.
So it's like deeply personal because, you know, it's named after her, it's inspired by her, but where, and I don't want to like break down and start crying, you know, 5 minutes into our live stream. But this book is dedicated to two people / a person in a group. Number one, it's dedicated to my now late grandfather, who made it just a couple weeks ago before he passed away. He made it to 99 years, a month, and a couple of weeks. The dude saw life. And one of the things that he told me in his, you know, last few weeks, actually his last few months, was how important this book was to him, because it was one of his dreams to actually see his high school sweetheart's name in print.
Aww,
and so he's been along, you know, he was along for the ride for me right up until the day he died. The script, the 32-page script, was by his bedside. Every time Annie Wright, my wonderful, amazing, congratulations, Annie, we did it, artist who's 21 and more talent in her pinky finger than I will ever have in my whole body. Plus
she
40.
is so talented. That's one of the things I love about her art, and I just found her through you. But her art is so expressive, and you can tell that she really loves what she's doing, and she is able to give life to the characters that not a lot of artists that have been doing it for decades are able to do.
So I'm gonna take a tangent here because we can. So this being my second book, I have now got to live a writer's cliche dream twice. It's you hear him say it, right? Where it's like an artist did something with my words. They took something that was perfect in my mind and somehow made it better. and that happened on Parallel, and it happened here. You know, this is Annie's first book. And so like while I'm sitting here and you know what, I will admit this out loud. I looked at her as 21, a newbie,
Mhm.
a 23-year veteran school teacher. I see a 21-year-old and I'm seeing, okay, I got to teach you something. And so like my script was really tight, and I'm like walking her through how to do sequential, like doing a lot of that heavy lifting. And then the panels and the pages started coming in, and I'm like, oh dear Lord, you're doing, I don't even know if you know how talented you are. And the first thing I noticed, you're right, Katie, is this young person has got the ability to capture emotion and expressiveness. I shared with you, you know, the little postcard that I made for promotion, and we
Yes.
put that panel, and it's actually the panel, the image that Annie drew that I'm using for my first banner for like shows and cons and
Okay.
stuff like that. It's that embrace between Jane and her mom, Maymay, and Maymay's in the
Yes.
Rosie thing. And there's just, that came in, and you can see it on their faces, even with their eyes closed. Like the love is there, the compassion is there, the family is there, and it's all in her pen strokes. And it's for people who don't do art and can't do art at that level, or maybe any level, it's mind-boggling to me how she does it. All I know is I'm really thankful she did.
Yeah, me too, because she's also going to be upcoming on the 19th. We kind of
Oh, yeah.
scheduled that, so that'll be her first ever interview. So I'm excited about that.
How
We've been
cool.
chatting a lot. We were just chatting like maybe 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, she's
But,
amazing. She's amazing.
She's
I got to
so adorable.
yeah, she's the best. You're gonna love her. And in fact, we actually got to meet face to face for the first time a couple of weekends ago, because
Okay.
Our editor on this book, Dr. Christy Blanche, who's a superstar in her own right, as a writer, as a retailer, and literally one of the most in-demand moderators at conventions across the country. Dr. Christy ran a con in Indiana a couple of months ago, a couple of weeks. Guest there. It was, you know, it's one of those things, you know, where like you're already so tight with somebody because of either the working relationship or the interaction. And then even though it's literally technically the first time you've met, it's like we were just hanging out, like we've been hanging out for forever. And it was beautiful. It was wonderful. It was a bit of magic.
Nice. I like that a lot. Is she also local? Where is she from?
Yeah, so she's going to Ball State right now. So she's like,
Okay.
she grew up in Muncie, like right there. And that's why Dr. Christy knew her. And like it was Christy who was like, you need to, when we were making decisions on artists, like way back when, it was like, you need to look at this kid. And, you know, I checked some stuff out and I was like, let's do it. And I haven't regretted it for a single second. So she's awesome.
So she sent me a couple of her other like smaller stuff, even on her Instagram, like the little character shots that she does are so well done. And not only that, the coloring that she does on them, it just brings it to life even more. And I'm so thrilled to see someone that young, like, get it. And I've been doing art longer than she's been alive, and I can't get to that.
there's like complete package pieces there too, right?
Yes.
Like, you know, how rare is it for somebody to be able to do art like that at that young? How rare is it for somebody to do that with that kind of level of expression? And then you add on the coloring instincts too, and you're talking about like that the odds seem a little far-fetched, and here we are. How lucky am I?
I'm super lucky. I am so excited to see what she has.
So we're talking up Annie right now. And while we're doing that, we should probably mention this. There is a post. We did the collab thing. So there's an IG post on Annie's, which is artsy.moonwalker.
Right? Let me pull it up and I'll paste it in the chat. So you can talk about that. So
it's on Annie's and it's on mine at J Douglas Wright. So you can find it in either spot. And it is both of us or one of us probably got it pinned. And she did this little piece of art, and it was like in the earlier days, it might have been on launch day. It was on launch day. So it's from May 2nd. You can find it that way. And she put it up, and you got to go there because Annie is offering a wonderful, unique opportunity where if she's doing a contest, she's doing her first giveaway. And if you follow her rules, which is like, you know, follow me, follow her, like the post, tag some people, do the normal kind of hoops we jump through on IG to get free comics, she's doing a free commission. of anything you want, and she's tying it, to the Kickstarter. So basically, you go follow those rules, back to Kickstarter, follow us, and this real talented artist that we're talking about to you today, who in a few short years, none of us are going to be able to afford.
No.
Right?
That's
what happens when artists become superstars. She'll do a commission for you, and she's giving away for free. So I want to promote that.
That's fantastic.
That's an awesome thing. Yeah. Hey, yeah. Who's this guy? Cheese fondue man. My favorite price. Yeah, free. Me too. Me too. Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So what I was saying was, it's dedicated to my grandfather too, who like when Annie's pages would come in, like they're on his iPad and he's crying, right?
That's so sweet. I love that.
When the two, basically the last thing that he got to see were the two exclusive covers, the Malia cover and the Cena Grace cover.
I'm so glad he got to see those.
It was kind of towards the end, and it was getting rough, and he lit up. So like the fact that exists on Kickstarter right now, and the fact that I now know for sure as of today that it's going to get into the world and it's getting into people's hands, it makes it, there's a weight off my heart, because like the Kickstarter was scary for me. What I was more scared of was failing my grandparents.
Aww.
And everybody, like my mom and my aunts are like, shut up, that's not what it is. Come on, I'm obstinate, I'm stubborn. I would have felt like I had failed the memory of these people that I love and that I'm dedicating it to. So it's dedicated to my grandfather too. Hopefully I'll be able to tell a cool little story about the research where he was connected to a little bit later. But I really want to get this out. The other group of people that this is dedicated to is, when you think about the themes of identity and self-worth and gender and societal's pressure roles to tell you who you are, this is also very much inspired and dedicated to every single student who has come through my classroom the last 23 years. So basically all 21st century kids who still struggle with those same things right now. And you extrapolate that back to the 1940s and how intense was it for people then. I still have these kids who their parents or their teachers or their peers or society in general say, hey, you know what? You can't be that person. Sorry, it's not the way it works, or we're not going to accept you. And the fact that kids are still coming through my classroom struggling with that, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart, and this is for them too.
Yeah, that had been a really scary thing, especially back then, because back then that was like super frowned upon, like even just being your true self in any aspect of anything back then.
Yeah, if you didn't fit, like even stricter than today, and we still have our problems with it, but like if you did not fit in whatever mold was set, before the day you were born, it was considered wrong, not okay. Being ostracized was probably your best thing that could happen to you, and obviously much, much worse escalating from there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Which I'm glad, because you get a lot of expression, a lot of things that you can do like nowadays that, our parents didn't even have, much less our grandparents. So I know my grandparents, my grandfather came from Italy. So when he came here, he didn't even speak any English.
Right.
So I mean, how they did all that and figured all that stuff out, I don't know, because they had like 7 kids too. So I mean, that's like
I mean, we go. I know, and I don't want to be that person that like, oh, remember when? I mean, nostalgia. John Hodgman says nostalgia is a toxic impulse. I don't know if I completely agree, but like, you know what? We go through stuff, we endure today, but sometimes you think about like previous generations, and they might have been made of tougher stuff. I know I'm a wimp, so I don't know. Maybe.
Dude. My grandfather worked at Ford's, and then for whatever reason, they gave them the extra scrap metal, and he would come home and take the scrap metal and turn it into tableware and knives. So I have a whole drawer full of like old Ford part knives and like cool working tools because he made from scratch.
I'll tell you what would happen if I brought home a bunch of scrap metal. I'd cut myself and need a tetanus shot. That's exactly what would happen.
I would be amputated. I get a cut in my finger. I would not be having fingers anymore. Yeah, no, that would be my luck.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So all the people in chat. Yeah, if guys have questions, go ahead and just plop.
Oh yeah. Ask away. Ask away. I am an open book. Anybody who follows me on Instagram knows that I share. Anybody who hits me up on DMs on Instagram knows that I share to the point where like you're like, hey, I don't want to waste your time. You're a professional, whatever. And I'm like, oh, let me tell you how long I'm going to talk to you to the point where you then say,
Yes.
I've got to go. It's not supposed to be that way when it's the creator fan dynamic, but I will talk your ear off to the point where you're like, do you not have a life? What's wrong with you? Why are you still talking to me? I got to go.
We clicked immediately. We were like, oh, we're two nerds.
Do you remember, Katie? Do you remember like there was that really long back and forth we had?
Yeah.
I think we both almost at the same time said like, wait, we're not going to get anything done today. We need to stop. We're going to
postpone. It was crazy because we both have a love for Greenfield Village. Like, and that it's like, so you live close to the plant where your grandfather worked and the stories kind of met. I am literally not even 10 minutes from Greenfield Village. So it's right there. I can see their fireworks in the summertime from my house. That's how close I am. So yeah, we have a mad love for that. So if you guys don't know what that is, it's Henry Ford in Greenfield Village. There's like a museum part where it has like a lot of the presidential cars. It's so fascinating. And then there's like a old timey village place where you can go.
For people who don't know, it's if you have something in your part of the country that's like the the historical village, or sometimes it's just like one house or a couple of like that. This is without a doubt like the premier one in the country. Like this is the one.
It's humongous. Well, it's also a Henry Ford estate attached to it because it's like the Henry Ford Museum in Greenfield Village type thing. So it's fascinating.
I mean, you got really, Williamsburg, really cool. Virginia, which is comparable on some level, but there's nothing like Greenfield Village and the Henry Ford. This is the place. If you are a history nerd, you have not done it right until you come and visit us.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I just said us like I work there.
I actually had a lot of friends from school that worked there. That's what they would do in their summer. They would go and intern here, and they would do that.
When we were talking about it, I don't think I told you, but that it's been my retirement. The day one of teaching, my retirement dream was to like be the dude, one of the guys who drives you around in the Model Ts, or one of the reenactors, or somebody who
Wait, if I could, can I move us? Can I move us over there? But yeah, see the picture down at the bottom, like in the background. I don't know how I can bring that up right now, but
Oh, you recognize it, didn't you?
You said that to me. I was like, "Are you working at Greenfield Village?" And like,
right down there. If you can see below where.
Yeah, I don't know can I move it? I'm such a noob at this. No, not me. What am I doing? Ew. Let's go back. Okay, forget it. But yeah, you have like blacksmithy gear.
No, I was doing. Do you know what that is? That's me doing the glass blowing.
That's what I figured. Either glass blowing or blacksmithing is what I got, and we both do that down there.
It's live, and this is bad streaming. But pause for 1 second.
Pause.
Not pause. Vamp for 1 second.
Okay. What's up, people? Hey, Fish. Yeah, there's a lot of people in chat now. Let me say hi. So we got, hey, Christina. Hey, Fish. I saw Wonger in here. All right. Let's show your goods.
This is what I made.
Wait, let me make that big. Wait, how do I make that big? Crap. I forgot how to. There we go. Boom.
Yeah. So the professional glass blowers there. I mean, like Artisans Supreme, and you go back and. They haven't done it in a few years because of COVID. It might be back on now, but I got to go back there and pull this and shape it.
Cool.
It's like a flower.
And that's awesome. Yeah, I actually, you can't see my earrings, but I bought this in the glass house from the earrings.
You did?
Yeah, I got the little black studs. Yeah, they're it's a stone, but they make them there. They sell them there.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna end up alienating like 66% of the audience right now. It's like, what are you guys talking about? Like my sister does. My sister does the new candy cane every year for the Christmas tree. They do a different model every year. She does that every year, and I love it.
Yeah. My favorite part though is the Halloween town. Come on, I go every year. I gotta go.
Halloween at Greenfield Village is the best.
Okay, you talk to them for a minute. I can't hear you, but hold on. Let me grab my thing.
Okay. It's my turn to vamp. Hi, everybody. We're about to be shown something wonderful for a place that most of you have never visited. You can hear the energy between the two of us, and we're very excited. You have no idea what's going on, but revel in the energy.
You can hear now. Hi. So I got this the last time I was there. Because they have a pottery, a printmaking thing, a wool making thing, the glass blowing thing, the blacksmith, and a couple stuff. And you guys can go intern there also. It's pretty neat. So let me flip me back here. So this is from the same place I got the earrings, but it's from their pottery
Oh, it's from
department.
pottery. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Frankenstein little thing, and they all make them there. They make them there and they sell them, which is neat.
Yeah, it's really cool. You like
super fascinating.
really watch these artisans make stuff like that. And Katie, have you ever watched like the ladies on the side when they're doing the delicate carving after the painting on the pottery after it's been fired and stuff? It's
so cool.
Mind blowing.
Like, let me see. There's a sticker on the back of it, but I think it might tell you who made it. But it says like Greenfield Village and some stuff on the back. But yeah, I mean, I would gladly pay more for that. You could buy like the giant potteries too, but it's super amazing and I love it.
Yeah.
And let me bring them back down here. So weird being big. I'm like, but yeah, it's so fascinating. And then when they do the Halloween thing, it's just the coolest thing. Like
Halloween, Holiday Nights at Christmas, Old Car Festival is a blast. Motor Muster is a blast. They used to do Old Car Fest. Kind of got smushed together with my old favorite festival, which was the Ragtime Festival. Oh my God, did I love that?
Ooh, yeah,
that used to be wicked cool. You know, all those ragtime bands. And then there was this guy who was spitting image of Teddy Roosevelt, who was going around in the back of Model T giving his 1912 speech.
That makes sense because they have his car. Right. They actually have the car that Kennedy was assassinated in, the chair that Lincoln was assassinated in, and the Rosa Parks bus, all the same museum.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
I mean, this sounds a bit more like Ripley's Believe It or Not, but literally they have Lincoln's last breath in a test tube, for God's sake. Probably. I don't know if it's out on display anymore because it's little whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they had to move that glass jar. It was very fragile.
Yeah. Yeah, but the Rosa Parks bus is there. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, you can go sit on it too. It's like neat, like people.
Oh, okay. So we got to turn this back to more like general nerd stuff. One of my favorite displays that's only a few years old there is so there's this one section of the museum that Henry Ford on the inside that takes you through like the decades of like the 20th century, and when you get to the 80s. They've got this awesome display about the ET. My nerd talking about when basically ET Atari game like bankrupted Atari, and they buried the hundreds of tens of thousands of cartridges out in the desert and filled it in with cement, and nobody found it. It was like an urban legend for like decades, and then it finally got found, and they've got like a bunch of that there, and the old jacked up Atari cartridges and stuff. It's pretty cool to see.
That's cool. Yeah, they had special events there, and I went to the Star Trek one, which was really neat because they had the costumes, and they had like all the you could sit in like the Borg thing and be attacked.
You do the green screen, and they teleport you.
Yes, you could crawl through the little thing. It was great. Oh look, Air Spider, you're chilling on the Twitch. Thanks for chilling on the Twitch. I can't respond to my thing.
Gary said a very cheery assassination music. You're not wrong.
Not wrong. Yeah. Yes. Oh, thanks, Glenn.
Hey, thanks, Glenn.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why we're talking here today is we hit our goal. And something I really want everybody to know is that this campaign is a little bit different. Beyond who this is dedicated to, beyond the fact that this is a story that isn't something that you necessarily see every single day on Kickstarter anyway in the comics world. Not a single penny of our goal, which we hit today, goes to me. Okay. One of the ways that we got to the number we did, and it was probably several $1,000s lower than kind of a comparable sized book and manned book behind it, who's on the creative team, is because one, I'm not getting a penny from it, and there's some other hustle things that I did to make sure that price comes down and make it more reasonable and make it more attainable. But I'm not getting a penny from this. It's all going. There's a very transparent breakdown. Like I did a very fancy 3D pie chart on the Kickstarter page. It says how much is going to art, how much is going to lettering, how much is going to design, editor, printing, fulfillment, all those kind of things, right? But my favorite thing that I really want people to know is every dollar that we go over our goal, starting, today, obviously we've got some pretty cool stretch goals I want everybody to check out. But like every dollar that goes over, not a penny of that goes to me either. This is not about me making my money. I make something like 12 cents a day being a public school teacher, so I'm fine. Every dollar gets dedicated directly to defraying the cost of the next Jane American book, which is a big, fat 120-page OGN. And I knew in my heart that at my level of whatever I've got going on in this industry, that going live with a Kickstarter at any point with like a $20,000 plus price tag on it, which is what a big fat book would cost, it's never going to happen. So like I'm pushing hard right now to get you these really cool things that are on this Kickstarter, right? And get you fired up for it. Cause like that cliffhanger ending, you are going to want more. And every single dollar of it will make the next campaign that much more affordable, not a penny to me. And that's something that like I'm pretty proud of, because I want people to believe me when I tell them this is a passion project and not I'm not doing this for any financial gain in my own.
Yeah, you get fulfillment of the people enjoying your work and being the story being out there, which is awesome. And I think that's
fulfilling a dream for me. It's for my grandma and grandpa. It's for those kids. It's a story I want in the world bad enough, with what I believe are universal themes that people are going to be able to relate to, and a story they're going to enjoy. The money part of it is meaningless to me. Simple as that.
Oh, what happened? Yes, it does sound good, and you will be at State of Comics tomorrow.
Okay. I don't know if this is appropriate for on air, but we're gonna do it. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Where am I gonna be tomorrow? Oh my God!
Tomorrow. Look at that
cross advertising. My first ever.
Who knew that was gonna happen? I don't know.
My first ever free comic book day signing tomorrow in Plymouth, Michigan. The place where Jane American takes place. Yep.
Yes.
Can we show
State of Comics? What now? Yes. Show.
This is what I'm gonna
wait. Let me make you the bigs. Let me make you the bigs.
Tomorrow. Oh, by the way. There we are.
Okay, there we go.
So Parallels. Oh my God. Parallel Special Edition is the brand new, because Parallel, the first one sold out. Got 2 Ringo nominations. Look at that fancy stamp right down there.
Ooh, fancy.
And, this is got the 50 bonus pages of back matter, and I'm selling that at the store and signing that. And I'm really excited about this book too, right? Kind of like doing these 2 jobs at once.
Maybe it's possible.
Oh, Glenn, you thought this doesn't happen on air? Oh boy, dude.
I mean, if you got it, just let it rip.
Glenn, I'm gonna be very honest with you right now. What you're saying is way closer to reality than I'm comfortable talking about, because I had I don't know, for those of you who follow me online know where I'm going with this, but like I had an emergency colonoscopy on Wednesday because of like my battle with colon cancer, and so like my innards are doing things right now that you know what, that's a more distinct possibility, Glenn, than I think
the prep for that is absolutely horrific. That's the worst part. But you'll like this bit of knowledge, Glenn. They won't let you leave until you fart, because you have to make sure that things are working.
I was very proud, Katie. I was very proud of myself Wednesday, because back when I did my very first one in August, and it was a very different story, because like I came out of that one and a doctor with no bedside manner was like, by the way, we found a giant tumor in you that's going to try to kill you. And so like I was not in a mood to have the happy you can't leave till you fart thing. And I'm like, I don't think it's going to happen. And this time I worked really hard, and it was a goal, and I passed some gas before they let me leave.
Good. Yeah. No, so if these people don't know, my mom also had colon cancer. They found it really early, stage 1. But when we were there, we were just when they said that she had a lump, we were just kind of like dumbfounded. Then we started making jokes about it, and we actually named her tumor mass Lemmy Winks from South Park. So we still talk about this to this day, and we say, oh, whenever time she goes back for colonoscopy, we say, oh, Lemmy Winks isn't back. So
yeah, I mean, you can't. I don't. Because it's like tomorrow keeps on coming,
Yeah.
And there's still, every weekday, there's still 180 teenagers who I've got to get up in front of them and pretend and to
Yeah.
convince them that grammar isn't boring. And I've got a couple of books I'm promoting, and I've got 3 kids that I'm raising. So it's like, it's very hard, as dark as it can be on that journey, to not find a way to have some fun and to laugh and to keep on going.
Yeah, so this here is your what do you call that? PSA about go get yourself a colonoscopy.
Yeah, totally. Oh, well, okay.
Don't wait till you're 40 either. Get it when you're younger, because 20-year-olds are getting it to this day.
No joke. So no joke at all. And again, anybody who's like following me on Instagram knows that, like, right now, or at least the past 8 months, like, my feed is split into like 3 equal parts, right? The nerd in me can't help every once in a while, like, showing, like, doing a show off post of this ridiculous book is in my collection. And then the other third is like promotion for Jane and Carol and stuff.
Yeah.
But the other third really has just been dedicated to, like, spreading awareness and, like, getting people tested and getting people scanned, because no joke at all, when I went in for my very first colonoscopy on August 15th, it was routine. I was asymptomatic, right? I went in because the law changed last year. I mean, it's not a law like anybody can force you to go get a colonoscopy, but the law is now doctors must recommend that your first one comes at 45 instead of 50. It was 50 for decades, right?
Yes.
And because I'm a teacher, I'm also a rule follower for the most part. And I just went because my doctor said, you're 45, you got to go. So I went, not expecting the whole prep sucks and I got to fart. And instead, they basically found a tumor that was as close to stage 3 without being stage 3, so still in stage 2, as you can actually be.
Wow.
And doctors like to talk about cancer being something that you discuss in months and years, but, like, cancer cells also don't keep a stopwatch. They don't care about months and years. They don't care about your timetable. And the fact that it was what it was, where it was, and the sizes it was, and having eaten through 3 out of the 4 walls of the inside of my colon, meant the fact that I was under the knife and got it cut out of me on August 30th.
And that was of last year?
Just like 7 months ago. Like, the fact that we did it so quickly and it was at the stage that it was, like, it could have been the next day. It could have been the next week. It could have been 5 minutes later when that first breakthrough happens, and then it's all across your body, and that's stage 3. It's a whole different game.
Yeah.
So my message is very simple. Like, the scan, I'm not out of the woods, but that scan at that time is the reason why I'm sitting here talking to you today. It literally saved my life to at least this point. It doesn't happen if I don't get scanned. Go get scanned.
Yeah. And that's the crazy thing with my mom too, because they wanted her to have it a couple years before, but she couldn't do it for whatever reason at the time, because we just had so much going on. If she would have got it at that time, it wouldn't have been there.
Oh.
So when she it was like the perfect timing, because they found it before it hit her wall. So she was very early stage 1. But if she would have waited, it would have escalated. And that's crazy. And what's even weirder about this, in women, I think it can also be in men too, but if you have colon cancer, it's linked to breast cancer, which we never knew about that, because my mom's sister died of breast cancer in the 80s. So it's kind of like on a similar, like, pathway or whatever. Like, so if you have a history of that, you have it in either side. So you could be in either one, which is ridiculous, because we didn't even know that.
Wow.
And my brother is going to be 39 in December.
Okay.
And his doctor has been refusing, because it's been 6 years since she had hers, since she got it, refusing to give him an order to go get his done. It's weird.
It's time for a new doctor.
Yeah, I know. So he's trying to get his done now. But yeah, I mean, the prep part really is the worst part, and you go in and out and then just get it over with.
Yeah.
But
the prep is.
I've had about 3 of them since then, because
it was like
I was getting old, and they were like,
they found my last CT scan, because I'm in this clinical trial to experiment with some stuff to hopefully make it even better for patients in the future. And so I get a CT scan every 6 months, and I get ctDNA blood work every 3 months, and blah, blah, blah. And in my last CT scan, unfortunately, they found a new growth on the outside of the colon. And then I did a PET scan and it kind of lit up, which means it's either a nasty infection or more cancer. So thus the emergency colonoscopy to make sure that nothing was going on the inside too. And, you know, look, I don't, this will sound trite because obviously you living or dying is more important than your comic book. But like,
Yeah.
I did my prep on launch night and I was like, you know, Gary, I was supposed to be on live with Gary that night. And I'm like, dude, I you know, it doesn't make good streaming when I run off for a half a second to grab a Greenfield Village flower. It makes it really bad streaming when I'm getting up every 10 minutes to go crap my brains out.
Yeah.
So I was like, we got to postpone, man.
I mean, you could keep the glass flower next to you just in case. It looks like it would, you know.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's we gotta talk. Katie, we gotta show them what's on the line tomorrow at the sign.
Oh yes, show them that, and then I'll pull up the Kickstarter. Then we can walk through the Kickstarter.
Okay, so I'm going to show you something that if you like comics, if you're a collector at all,
yes,
and you are within, I don't know, what should we say this? How many hours radius of Plymouth, Michigan should we say is worth coming out for what I'm about to show them as a giveaway?
Well, first of all, it's free comic book day, so you should be making your rounds anyway.
Truth.
So get out there and just
if you've got a radius that is reasonable at all, you support all your shops tomorrow.
Yes.
But
that's normally what I do. Yeah.
Let's say if you're 10 minutes away from Plymouth, sure. If you're even an hour or two away, this might be worth it. If you're 12 hours away, you make the call. Okay.
Yes.
But
I have a lot of buds over in Sterling Heights and Lansing. I'm just saying it might be worth it to come down.
Lansing's an hour. Hour 15 to Plymouth. So
yeah.
Am I selling these? Am I signing these? Absolutely. Okay.
Wait,
maybe worth your drive.
Again.
But
so you can show off the goods.
But
is it a big butt?
It's a huge butt.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
The first print of Parallel sold out. Okay, got me the 2 Ringo nominations. But what sold out even faster than Parallel was the handful of variants that were made of my book, which, you know, I wasn't involved in, but like very much honored, especially as like an old comic book nerd like me. And it just so happens that the very first variant that was made of Parallel was made by State of Comics, which is the store I'm going to be at tomorrow. And it was their very first exclusive they ever did. And this thing is wicked cool. And this thing sold out in, I think Ryan told me it sold out in like 12 hours, something like that.
Wow. Nice.
And as far as I'm aware, there are only 2 copies left, like unaccounted for, sold in the world. And they're both in my private collection. And I am giving away.
That's some sauce right there. Uh-oh. Are you
I
think you might have froze just a tad. Let's give it a little second. It might have. I think your internet had a fart, so it did that. And now you're back.
Yeah, I kept mine in, but the internet. Am I back?
Yes, we're back.
Okay, cool. You ready? Here's the reveal.
Yes.
This is the way sold out State of Comics Donnie Darko.
Yeah, that's sick. I love that. That's so cool.
It's about as wicked cool as you can get.
Wickedest.
2 copies left unsold in the world. I'm giving away one of them tomorrow.
That's hot, people. So if you're in Michigan, you must get your butts down to State of Comics, which is in Plymouth. And I'll also be there. So if you want to come annoy both of us, check out our goods. Like, come on, that's perfect time.
I bet you wouldn't have to ask all that hard, and Katie will sign my book for you too.
I will sign whatever if you want me to. Yes. Also, Fish wanted to know if that is by Source Point Press.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's there you go. There's the back. There's the Source Point. Yeah, so that's like that. My first book. And the reason why this is my first Kickstarter, as we were talking about way back at the beginning of the stream, was my story about how I became a published comic author it's about as atypical as you can get. Like Source Point signed me up when only half the script was done, which is just not how comics are done in the 21st century.
Yeah,
and
fun guys.
Publish it. Yeah, there was no crowdfunding for that. They wanted the book, they wanted the story, but they also were smart enough humans to see that I was an idiot and didn't know what I was doing. So like they hooked me up with my artist, with my editor, with my letterer, and like basically held my hand like a baby throughout the entire process because, you know, whatever success Jane does is, you know, due largely in part to my hustle and my hard work and me putting together Kickstarter and stuff. Parallel there's no way it would have ever happened. They've not taken me under their wing and said, look, baby bird, we will make this happen for you. You just do your job, because dude, I don't know what I didn't know what I was doing. So very
you're like, clearly you have no idea how comics work. They're like, what is this guy in his
seriously, like I had, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. I've told Gary knows this story. I had the first 32 pages. I had half the script, and I had written it this summer. Like I sat down, I wrote it this summer, and I was like, it's time, right? It's time to finally get off my butt and follow the dream. And instead of writing a one-act play for like the drama clubs that I run at the schools that I work at, I'm going to write the comic. How hard could it be, right? It was much harder than I thought it was, but how hard could it be, right? So I sit down and I write it, and then I'm halfway through, and I'm like, well, before I write another word, I got to figure out, can this exist? Can there be something more? Is this just something that's going to sit on my hard drive, or does this have something? And, I kind of did my half 21st century due diligence, and I'm like looking online, and of course nobody wants unsolicited solicitations. And any company, any publisher who will take an unsolicited pitch doesn't want your script. They want art and maybe a pitch, and it's not what I had. And nobody wants my art because it's terrible. So I was like, well, I guess I could give up, or maybe there's something else to do, like irrational confidence and blissful ignorance of not knowing what to do next. And I literally printed out the script at school. I put it in like, an old school manila file folder envelope thing in my room, decorated it with lovely colored paper clips from my desk drawer.
Paper clips.
Oh, and like
wow.
It was beautiful.
That's some fancy stuff right there.
And I took it to Motor City Comic Con, and I was like, I'm just going to shop this around. Like, this is how you do it. And the very first booth I walked up to was the Source Point Press booth. And the very first person I locked eyes with and saw his big, glorious red beard was Travis McIntyre, who was co-founder and at the time editor-in-chief, and just started pitching him, and like did not pick up on any of the body language and signals he was giving me of like, you're weird. What are you doing? How this works. And I just kept on going forward with the energy and the enthusiasm. And eventually
he likes your gumption.
Yeah.
There's an old time word for you.
You know what he said to me?
What?
I like the cut of your jib.
Wow.
He looks at me, he says that, and he says, it's like you're trying to pitch me a comic like we're in 1970. It's weird, but I respect it. Come back. I'm going to read this at the hotel tonight. Come back tomorrow and we'll talk. And I came back tomorrow, and he's like, we're in business.
Okay.
Contract by this date. Go home. Can you write me the second half of this? And I'm like, yes, without knowing if I could or couldn't. And suddenly this, again, very atypical situation happens. And then there's this big, long story, which, by the way, I tell much more eloquently in the afterward that I wrote for this.
Nice. Okay.
And how it, how it sold out. I mean, I'll just give you a little tease right now. This sucker, the original printing of it, it released right into the beginning of lockdown and flopped miserably.
Ooh.
And again, because of that blissful ignorance of not knowing that what you're supposed to do at that point is either, if you're a big time professional writer, you move on to your next book, or if you're somebody like me just trying out a dream, you say, good try, I got this far, see ya, back to the classroom. And I didn't know that that's what you're supposed to do, because nobody told me, because I don't know anything. And what I did instead, Katie, is for the next 18 months of COVID, I went on 75 different shows.
75.
A couple of repeats. I think I might have hung out with Gary more than once in that 75. But that's 75 different shows and pods and stuff like that. And eventually the book picked up momentum and it sold copies. And what I found out when I was in Baltimore for the Ringos, for the awards, is I did my very first panel at a con. And Travis was doing it with me. And he's like, I don't know if you know this, but towards the end of the sellout, we had to go and buy back copies from a bunch of stores because the online demand, because all the shows you went.
Wow.
So, like, literally, guys, as atypical of stories you can get. And now here I am doing how we do comics in the 21st century, which is get it funded by the community and people who are as passionate as you are about good comics. And then you talk about it going out into the world, and then you talk about it being attached to a publisher or whatever.
Yes. So for those that will not be in Plymouth, Michigan tomorrow, I have the link in the chat to where you can buy your own copy of Parallel.
Oh yeah,
So,
it's like it's fancy big time. Like I feel a little bit humbled by the fact that like you can go to Amazon and you can go to Barnes and Noble because it's also it's published. The special edition is published through SourcePoint, but it's also published through Simon and Schuster.
yes.
And so like
I believe that's the
you
link
can
I have down
support.
below.
You know, we really like. I hope you know the community really likes to support brick and mortar LCSs.
Yes.
But you can support a local bookstore and still get Parallel too. You just if you go to Simon and Schuster, they've got like the all the indie bookstore links too that you can do it. So
very nice.
Yeah,
that's exciting. You did that, and then you got Jane American happening. That's great, and you did hit your goal. So let me pull up the Kickstarter, and I'm gonna walk through the Kickstarter and all the stretch goals and all.
This is the first time I've gotten to do this on a show. I'm excited. This is gonna be cool.
Yeah, because I was just gonna pull up the individual stuff, but it's on there, and I'd rather just do that. And you could actually see that I backed it because my thingy is up there. So haha, take that. Oh wait, how do I? Oh yeah, crap. I'm such a pro. Let's go. Here we go. Boom, shakalaka. Look at this. Haha. Allow. There we go. Here we go. Here's your Kickstarter.
Oh.
And as you can see, I'm a backer. As of right now, you hit your goal. Woo! 128 backers. That's and awesome. You have 26 days to go. Well, while I'm here, let's play this. We can see the little snippet.
Oh, yes. Oh, please. Okay, before you hit play.
Whoa.
The last slide, this is the book trailer. This is the preview trailer.
Okay.
The last slide goes by pretty fast, but I need to give it. We gave Annie a lot of props before for her art. Yes. You're going to see some of it in here, but I got to give a shout out. 2 of my 3 wonderful human children made this trailer for me. My youngest did all of the words and the pictures. I mean, I wrote it and I told her whatever, but my son, my teenage son, put the music in that I chose to. So
that's
my kids
so cute.
My kids made a trailer
that's
for their
adorable. Yes. Okay, so I'm back here now. Is that where I'm at? Because it gets weird when you got to go through the things. Okay, let's hit play, people. Oh wait, can you hear that? Or do I have to unplug my headphones? Let me unplug my headphones real quick. So there we go. Let me rewind it back. There we go. Boom. Aw. Okay, how do I? All right, let me go down. Let me plug my headphones back in. Did everybody hear that? I hope so.
I can hear.
Okay, good, perfect. I plugged my headphones back in, but yay. That was so well done. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom where I'll show you my favorite panel in that whole part.
Yes.
Because it was just adorable. So we got a large snippet. You guys can read this. It's going to be too much for me to go down here. So we got the Jane American one shot. This is the how do you pronounce her name?
That's the Malia cover. So Malia is she's fresh off of her work as an animator for DreamWorks. And she's doing books for Garrett Gunn over at SourcePoint right now. She did a bunch of the variant covers for Good Boy, and she's got her first comic book coming out, and she's ridiculously talented. I love this image. I mean, that's you get your Rosie vibes there, but that's Jane at 15 and 46, and that's her mom doing the Rosie thing in the background.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I love this cover, and Dave Lentz, my letter and designer, dressed it, and it looks really great. And he designed that logo too, which looks like it could be right off the side of a B-17 bomber.
Yes, I really do like that. It's very of that time, Dave
Mhm.
Stevens, like the bombshell type era type things. And
You've got
I
it
love that kind of stuff.
exactly.
Yes. And then this cover, tell us about this because this is
Okay,
amazing.
so if you don't know Cena Grace, who did this cover and very graciously did this cover for me, you do know Cena Grace.
So
Cena Grace started off doing little tiny indie comics on his own, but he also eventually really broke into the scene because he was the editor on The Walking Dead for like the first 75 issues or so, and basically ran Skybound for Kirkman. And then when he left that job, you know, he's doing indie comics like Burn the Orphanage and Little Depressed Boy, doing the art on that. And then a lot of covers for X-Men, and maybe just wrote 18 issues of a little book called Iceman. And so he's got his Superman book coming out this fall. This is a
you
pretty
hear
big
that, Glenn?
He did
Glenn is
a
major
cover.
Superman.
Yep. And what we did with the cover, if you saw it in the trailer, it didn't look exactly like this because Dave Lentz then went in and we dressed it and we vintaged it up. So this is one of those cool covers that looks older than, you know, it is. It's you send this into CGC, it's still getting you a 9.8, even though it looks like it's got those folds on it and the stains on it and the spine ticks and stuff. So we aged to make it look like an old comic, which is really, really cool. I love that. Jeff Lemire did that on Black Hammer 1945. And I love that look. Okay, cool enough. But then I am a collector nerd as well as a comic book reader nerd. So I take it up a level. So if you back us at this cover level, it's going to go through a printing process called the soft touch laminate. Okay. I think you got to go up. So where's this? There it is.
This one, there it is. Yeah. The Granddad's Attic.
So yeah, Garrett Gunn over at SourcePoint named it the Granddad's Attic because it's going to go through this process called the soft touch laminate. And the soft touch laminate, you can't see it with your eye, but when you touch it, it feels a bit like suede. It feels like an old comic from Golden Age.
That's neat.
So what you get when this is going to arrive in your backer package is you get a book that looks old. You get a book that feels old and a book that will still grade at a 9.8 probably for you. So you get like two, you know, people who love Golden Age comics, they like the look. They like the feel, and then they like the new comic smell. I hit 2 out of those 3 things. Pretty good. If I could bottle old comic smell and just spray it on each book, I'd probably make $1 million.
I adore old comic book smells for whatever reason. I have my most fond memories are on the floor of a skanky comic shop digging through books. And I was like slightly musty, slightly damp, but it was the bestest of times.
Yeah, so this is just a wicked cool. It's limited in number, but I am going to keep it up for the entirety of the campaign. So it's not it's there, but like people, if you back it, there are only a certain number of copies out there because it's not a cheap printing process to do a soft touch laminate and then, you know, a vintage on the cover, but it looks old, it feels old. It's just a really cool sensation to touch it too. And so that's why we're calling it the Granddad's Attic variant because it will literally look and feel like it's been up in the attic since 1945.
That's pretty awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
And then let's scroll down because we get some fancy pants stuff.
So so this is the only picture that I need to over explain because you know Dave did his best job to do a previs on what this is going to look like.
Okay.
Any of my 1990s comic fans will immediately know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this. So I wanted to do something fancy that paid homage to the kind of covers that I dug at 12 to 15 years old. Okay. I was a major, I came of age in comics when Image was launching and Valiant was launching at the same time. And as much as I really respected the interconnected universe of Valiant Comics and the kind of higher quality writing, maybe opinions may vary than Image. You know, Image was really famous for its art, but Valiant really nailed, in my opinion, some of the fancy covers that then Marvel kind of jumped on the bandwagon too. And they were really famous for their chromium covers. Bloodshot #1, Exo Manowar 0, Turok #1. They get some crap, but they're really pretty.
That's the good stuff. I don't know why people are crapping on it all the time.
And so so that Malia cover is getting a chromium
Yes.
version. So Dave kind of gave that rainbow shine that chromium gives.
Yeah, you can kind of see it right along this edge
Yeah,
right here.
it's in a little field, but anybody, you go look up a copy of like Shadow Man Zero or Exo Zero or Turok One, that kind of thing. Those actual chromium covers, that's exactly what it's going to look like. I'm super.
Yes.
The comic book collector nerd, the fancy cover nerd in me, is fired up about that cover.
So we got in this category. So there's two different versions of it. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So one's the version.
You've got the Malia. You got the Malia cover, which is our first exclusive level. You've got the chromium level, and then you've got the extremely limited time and number textless variant, because I think I've got that up there too. If you want to scroll down in the middle.
I think because I backed one, so one's here, and then the other one's on the bottom.
Okay.
So like I got the holochrome because I'm a sucker for 90s.
In the middle, if you scroll down just to look at, I think the next cover is the textless one. Not on the side there, but in the middle.
Oh, in the middle? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
There we go.
So there's just something about that textless one. Like if you scroll up a little bit and you can see, the title's not there. It just, for me, Dave and I were looking at that, and it just really, really pops. Like some textless variants I love, some of them I don't love as much. And this one I just fell in love with. And I was like, this was not originally planned here. This is like the last thing I added to it, like right before I submitted it for approval to Kickstarter. And I was like, I can't not do this because it just looks so good. That's the only one that is not only limited number, but will disappear from the campaign in about a week.
Ooh, okay.
So you kind of got to grab that one.
This tier?
Yep.
Here, the ultra rare version.
Yeah, and that's going to go away on the 17th, I believe. Yeah, it says 12 days to go. So a little more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So that was good. So there's only 25. It's limited to 25.
Yep, that's it. That's all that's going to exist.
Wow, get on that. So that if you already back and you want to add on, you can also do that also. Yes.
No,
you can't.
I just found that out today and yesterday. What? It is one of the great flaws of Kickstarter. I think what I'm going to do.
Okay.
And this is maybe really dumb of me, but my ignorance may come back and bite me in the butt.
Okay.
But apparently I'm finding out that like once you back at something, you can go back in and donate more money to the cause.
Okay.
But if you try to click, let's say you did the standard Malia cover at $20.
Okay. Which I think about it.
And if you went in there and you said, I want another one of those, it would just replace your first one and nothing would be added.
Because I know if you click manage or pledge, there were add-ons in there for the other
So
books.
You know what? Let's experiment right now. We're doing this, right? Like let's see. Now, I'm pretty sure this will not work for you because my sister and I tried this today. But if you want to manage your pledge,
okay. I don't know what's gonna show, but hold on.
You don't want to. You don't want to go in there if it's going to have like credit card information.
I have no idea. Let me stop sharing real quick, and then I'll come back, and then I'll click it just to see. Because hold on. Let me say hi to some people because it's been a minute. Because I ignored that for a long time.
Hey, it's Team Nerd Herd. I know those peoples.
It is Team Nerd Herd. All right, let's see. Okay, so we got a lot of my Twitch peeps. We're hanging out. I feel bad because I ignored you guys. We got some Marcus. Hey. We got more. Hey, Ari. Nope. What's up? Nope. All these guys are actually fabulous artists. So we got, emotes. There we go. Hey, Steve. So we say that because we have a wicked Mario Kart crew going on, and we kind of torment each other on Mario Kart. Let's see. Okay, what does he say? Do you have to? Oh. So Glenn is from the UK. Is it open up to anybody outside the States? That's a good question.
So because Glenn, you know about the shipping nightmare as soon as you go overseas or out of country. So it's the PDF. I can get you a PDF. You can back at that level there, and then you know what? If this goes well enough and we move it along and we hit some of those stretch goals, I mean. That will give me probably a little bit of leeway to print some more copies, and we could probably do it more on an individual basis. But like through Kickstarter, that shipping fee is like insane and probably not worth it. And then obviously, if my long-term goal of this is, like I said earlier, to defray the cost of the 120-page graphic novel to follow it. But even in between, I might shop just the one shot to some publishers as well. And if that happens, then it's going to be in previews and it's going to be really easy to snag. But like right now, internationally, it's the PDF, and the hard copies are staying stateside.
Kickstarter. Okay, that's interesting. Because yeah, that was the issue. I actually have, okay, my favorite board game of all time was Nightmare. It was called Nightmare in the United States. It was around when I was in the 4th grade. It was Atmosphere around the rest of the world. I backed that almost 2 years ago. It had like a 7 months delay in shipping because of the lockdown that happened. And because they decided to, because originally we purchased it, then we paid for shipping, and then they backed the place that they bought the shipping from said, no, we have to super up our prices because it's going to go through freight on a boat to get here, and they upped all their stuff. So we actually had to pay another like $50 in shipping, and it was delayed like months. Like, it just came in the other day, but it's my baby and that's my thing, and I wanted it for so long.
You know, like we said earlier, this is also my
Yeah.
first campaign, and it was like the fear of managing it correctly, and it was a thing that I could have made a decision on, but like I didn't want to screw that up for anybody. I didn't like the idea of something that I'm pricing people out because shipping on a blah 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 dollar book is so ridiculous. It like made me kind of uncomfortable. It's something that I would definitely consider going forward because I hate limiting the audience for any reason. And one of the reasons why, you know, Parallel was kind of cool and even special edition is, you know, sort previews and Diamond, it's everything. And so like that I had no problem. Like when I'm talking to my IG followers in Australia or in Great Britain, it was like, yeah, just go to your LCS. They'll order it for you because it's everything. And this needed to be a little smaller scale. So it was something that I could manage the first time out.
Okay. So while you're talking to them, I am in the manager pledge thing.
Okay.
First thing is update payment. I'm not doing that. It shows my reward tier and then change your pledge. You cancel it and then change it. If I click change, I wonder if it lets you get to the add-ons.
You got to try that. My sister tried it today and she said add-ons were locked and it would not do it for her.
Okay, so I don't see any of the add-ons, but I see it where it'll let me click on here. But it also says shipping destination. I can change that. And then you can add a bonus. That's different. That wasn't on there. And then you can just select a different category.
See, and that's the thing. It's going to if you choose something else, it's going to replace what you originally backed, whatever you choose, whether it's the same thing because you think you're getting another one. So for anybody, I'll tell you this, for anybody who's going to back this, take a look at the add-ons. Take a look at all the categories before you make the decision, and also take a look at the add-ons because there's some pretty cool stuff in there. The one thing that we didn't talk about, you know, all my add-ons are like, hey, I want this cover, but I want this one. You can add on. I want a second copy. I've got that in there. I tried to cover all my bases. The one thing that we didn't show or talk about is a kind of really special. The history nerd to me is so excited about this add-on. It's only $2.
Yes.
So
I did add that on.
Did you grab it?
I did, yes.
So
hold on, let me reshare it so I can go back there. We can go back in there. Did I miss anybody? I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody, but yeah, we can come back in a minute. Let's go back because I'm done with the payment area.
Yeah,
wow. Okay, there we go. Okay,
it's in my opinion in this early stage a major failing of Kickstarter that you can't just go back in and grab another book.
Which is interesting because when you get it to the end, it'll let you add that on. Like when you get your backer surveys, your backer kits, you can add extra stuff on and extra items on, and then update your pledge at that time, but not in this phase. But then
this is information to me. Tell me that again because I need to hear that.
So when you get your backer kit survey, when it's finally ended, they send your thing, you're getting ready to ship. They'll send you a email that takes you to either backer kits or whatever pledge site that you went to, you did it through, and it'll walk you through. This is your address, this is what you did, and then it'll ask if you want to add any add-ons as well, because I do that all the time with Coffin Comics, where I'll add like a print or I'll add like a keychain thing, whatever they usually have offered originally as add-ons will usually be popped up in there. But that's not until the surveys go out, when your backer surveys go out.
Yeah.
So it could be like a month or so from now.
So that feels very counterintuitive to me. Like, why would you want to give people the chance to add on.
Yeah, that's something they need to work on.
Yeah, seriously.
Let me go over here.
Anyway, the add-on that we're talking about,
Wait.
there's no picture of it.
Oh, look at you.
But what's really, really cool, so it's an add-on. It says Gary grabbed it too. It's only for $2 and it's on all the different tiers. I did a lot of research for this book, and one of the things that I did most recently was I looked into, because we've got this very important pivotal scene. You actually see it in those sample pages that I got up there of Annie's art, where, you know, that famous scene where when you find out that your soldier isn't coming home, and the telegram that arrives, the Western Union telegram, and depending on the situation, whether it is a Western Union person that brings it to the door, or it's actually people, in this case in the Army Air Corps, that bring it to the door because of a special circumstance, you get that telegram. And I did a ridiculous amount of research, and Dave Lentz and I have basically designed and recreated this exact telegram that you're seeing right there, and it's going
awesome.
It'll be aged and it'll look good, and it has that, you know, that raised lettering of the Western Union telegram, the stamps at the top and stuff, and I wrote it, and based on obviously specifically this situation in the story, combined with reading dozens upon dozens of real letters that people got that have, you know, they've shared online and stuff like that. So it's about as authentic as you get being in the fictional world. And that's something that will arrive in your package for no extra shipping, because
Yeah, and then you can kind of see the snippet here where she's getting the letter.
Yeah.
In here, which Annie did a great job in this. I'm gonna show you. Let's see her face. She just looks.
That's your panel that you love. Yeah.
I love this, but no, this is my favorite panel right here. I adore this. This little kid eating his cake. I'm assuming it's cake.
Oh,
I adore this scene right here. And then look at this little adorable kid just going gung ho on his.
So
sugar.
that's Jane's little brother Gene. First name named after my grandfather.
Oh, that's adorable. Right, look at his little bow tie, his suspenders, his tooth is missing. Come on, that's adorable.
This is Annie's birthday, so that her little brother got dressed up for her that day.
Oh, that's so cute. Okay, so that's cake, which actually looks delicious. Yes, and I love you talked about this on Nerdtuing and a couple other streams that you're on, that you actually researched furniture. You researched kitchens, you researched everything so that it was completely authentic to.
I'm a stickler for the concept that if I'm going to ask you to suspend your disbelief on anything fantastical in a book, whether it's a 15-year-old who can do a couple of things, again, code for certain types of comics that other people can't, or like in parallel, like a parallel version of you reaching out, offering you this second chance from beyond. I'm going to make sure that everything else in the book is as realistic as possible, right? If you've got to step outside of reality to believe that Jane can do things other people can't, I don't want a single person like looking on that back wall and going, that phone didn't come out until 1955. I'm not into that.
Yeah. Right? Look at that. That is a trip just to see a phone on a wall.
Yeah. So like everything you're going to see in this book, down to the intense research that I did. Go down. So
this one,
welding kit right there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Look at the goggles. Yeah.
Yeah. That welding kit right there is period specific. When Wall Wire, which is the actual real factory that a lot of that lived in Plymouth, that my great grandfather worked at during the war, it had a war contract during World War II. While like places like, I mean, Katie, you'll know this, like places like Willow Run were building bombers, right? Like Ford and GM switched to building tanks and bombers for the war. The smaller factories got war contracts for other things. And Wall Wire in Plymouth turned from a wire factory into a place that made these things called Marsden mats, which were these long, punctuated metal sheets of metal that they used to make the temporary runways, like in Europe and the Pacific, so you could do a runway anyway, like island hop and stuff. So they're making those there. And the welding equipment they had when they got their war contract looked exactly like this. Okay. This is me doing research not only online, but at Plymouth Historical Museum. And then because that war contract, they could upgrade it to the much, like if you ever see a Rosie the Riveter picture, like if you do a Google image search, you see them with these long tube like welding things, like the ladies with their goggles and their bandanas connected to like big tanks for the welding. And that's exactly what wall wire upgraded with. So when I had May bring Jane home that birthday present, and you can read the dialogue right there, like here's this dream. She wants to be just like mom, right? So here's the perfect gift. They're going to go and fix the tractor in the shed that dad couldn't fix before he goes off to war. And just to show you the intensity of this research I did, I made sure that it would make sense that in 1943, wall wire is replacing that exact equipment with the new equipment. So that's exactly what she would be
doing.
It
even says wall wire on the box. If you look very tiny.
I mean, that's in the script. That's in the script. But,
yeah.
But thank you, Annie, right?
She did such a good job. Like this pose alone, where they're just like completely holding each other. She did such an amazing job.
Yeah. That's why. So that's the first page she did. The one where they're embracing her. That's the first page she did. And that image leapt off the page for me. And that's why that's like half. I've got the this is half of my first retractable banner for shows, and that image is my other half.
Okay. Oh, that'll be cute. Are you bring those tomorrow?
Oh, the banner?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'll be up behind me. I gotta pretend.
We're gonna have to do some live streaming and be like, "Yo, check out my banners."
I gotta pretend like I'm a fancy pants important person tomorrow as I'm sitting there at that table.
And you know what is hilarious? This house right here, I've probably sold a lot of these houses in Plymouth because this is exactly what the houses in Plymouth still look like to this day because of the Historical Society.
Right. So that's that's actually a real house in downtown Northville, which is the town right to the north of it. So that got photo referenced for Annie.
So
the only thing that's different is because like I very much prevised and saw every inch of that house in my head when I was writing it.
Okay.
And so I had her flip like in Northville, the doors on the other side and the window. It's opposite, but it's that house.
Yes. They're also very close because you have Northville Downs and all that other stuff, which is actually fascinating, cool things that are over there.
Well, I did look. We're like if people thought we were going like history nerd into the weeds when we were talking about Greenville Village, I'm gonna say this one thing and I'm gonna shut up. Okay. So like when I teach in Northville and have the last 23 years, and when I got there my first year, somebody handed me, or maybe it was just in my classroom, there's like this old beat down dusty book that said Northville the first 100 years. Yeah. And I was like, I read a bunch of it, and like I didn't know this, even though I grew up in Plymouth and in Canton. Northville in the early days was the literal name of it was North Plymouth. Okay. And there was a trolley system that went between the two. And there was this little village called Waterford in between, but it was called North Plymouth until it detached and became its own place. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating. That's another thing you can do too, is like after this backs and if you can, so after it backs, are you planning to get more books out to send out? Because you could send them to like the historical societies also to have them.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, if you scroll down to the
over here,
if you scroll down
to the stretch, here you go.
If you look at stretch goal number 3.
Okay. Ooh.
If we hit that, which is very ambitious, but if we hit that, the plan is for every single physical backer to get like the director's cut with the bonus pages. Okay. And then I think if we were in that range where we've defrayed enough cost to make the 120 page graphic novel a bit more manageable, in however many months / a year from now. And this book now is in your hands as opposed to just the 32 page one shot that you're backing today. My gut tells me what I will do, Katie, is print some more with a new cover from Annie back in the 32 page. And that could be, I'm taking that to this show or that show and sending it to places that it would be historically tied to.
Yeah, because near me, like when you're heading on your way to Greenfield Village down Michigan Avenue, they have the Dearborn Historical Society. They always do like a little every spring. It's probably coming up now. You'll see it on the lawn as you drive by the little booths with people with art stuff. But they have a book of like the history of Dearborn and how like when the Underground Railroad came, like how the houses were connected, and they like a lot of the houses still have like the tunnels underground.
Yeah.
Where come out when you can come out. That's where they came out when they came up here. And then like back in like the 30s, like the gangsters took it over, and that's how they're doing prohibition back in underneath all those tunnels
Yeah. Yeah.
in the houses. But they also have like local books and things that were written by people in the area that they have in their for sale in their like the stores in there when you walk through there. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah, that's
Yes.
awesome.
Because I know over there's like Greenmead, which is Livonia, but right over there's a lot of historical societies in that area that are pretty neat.
Yeah.
Like heading out towards that way.
Right.
So what else was I going to show in here? So here's your little budget breakdown.
Yeah, and notice what is like I said earlier. Notice what's not on there. I am not on there because not a penny of this of the main goal or any of the stretch goals. Not a penny of this goes to me. This is about getting a story I'm passionate about out in the world to people that'll enjoy it.
Oh, in here, and this is actually printed in Plymouth, correct?
Yeah. Come on. I mean, on one hand, like from a practical standpoint, it's one of the reasons why I could make the goal as reasonable as it is. Like anybody who's joining us more recently, like we said earlier, according to people who know a lot more than me, according to like people, the executives at SourcePoint, like, you know, this book is going to be about 10 grand, maybe it's close to 12, right? I'm like, I got to get it lower than that because you know, it just makes me, it made me itch. And one of the ways I did that was like, well, oh my God, local printer. That means I can go pick it up and then I don't have to pay for shipping. And right there you save blah, blah, blah amount of money. So that's just like one of the little ways. And then as I looked into it more, literally this book is going to be printed in the town that it takes place in historically.
That's really awesome. I think that's fascinating.
This company is Comics Wellspring is a wing, a very modern and recent wing of a company called Greco Printing that's been in Plymouth for over 40 years. And are you ready for this? The owner, Anthony Sr., had worked with my grandfather for years on different Plymouth projects when my grandfather was on the board of trustees and when my grandfather was the head of like the Kiwanis Club. Like my grandfather lived a life, right? Like 99 years old, World War II, worked for Michigan Bell for decades and decades and decades and got into
Michigan Bell. I haven't heard that in forever.
Right. If people don't know what Kiwanis is, if you know what Rotary is or Lions Club, it's one of those service organizations, usually for like crusty old dudes, but much
crusty old dudes. And funny enough, they usually have comic book cons like over the weekend at those things.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, it's gonna be at the Rotary Club or it's gonna be at the Knights of Columbus Hall, right? But anyway, my grandfather like worked his way up the ranks in Kiwanis leadership and was actually president of Kiwanis International in 1989, like literally going around the world with my grandmother, meeting world leaders and getting like major charitable projects funded in places like the Philippines and in England and in Australia. And like that was like this guy's life. And so like Greco Publishing did stuff with Kiwanis. So like the connections just between even the company that's going to print these for us and this book is, I can't, there's a lot of serendipity going on here that I didn't necessarily plan, but is working out that way and makes it
happen that way. In my mind. Yeah. So some of these other pledges we didn't get to, but let's get to them real quick. Yeah. We have a $90 collector cover bundle. So this is like all the covers here.
Yeah. So that's getting you all the fancy covers, I think, minus the textless variant. Okay. Yeah. But if you'll notice, this one's also pretty limited in number. There's only 30. Oh my God, there's only 9 left. And the reason why I bundled those together is because it does save you some money.
That's good.
I love bang for your buck. I love cutting deals. So this is
Now, if you're a retailer and you wanted more copies, this is your best bundle. Look at this, 175. You get 10 copies of
if
this.
If you are a retailer or you know a retailer, share this out because this is pretty much guaranteed to double their money at a minimum.
That's great. Yeah, I will be sharing this because there's a couple, like in my area alone, I know at least 10 shops that I go to that I would be definitely sending these to. And I'm going to be hustling you tomorrow when I go down to
talk to Green Brain for me.
I will. I'm like, Dan, Katie, come on, let's go. Because they're very good about that also because they do a monthly, they started a couple of years ago. We'll have an artist, a writer, a poetry thing going on, and they bring people in the community, and it's all local people that they do, and they always have a stand in their corner for local artists, like unpublished works. So they're really good peeps. Oh, talk about this one, your name and likeness in Jane OGN.
So this is my favorite, because I wanted to make this worth your while. So it's a really special, unique opportunity. Okay, but it also, like, if you scroll down, you're getting all your covers as well. Okay, but what you get as a bonus here is your name and likeness will be in the 120-page OGN. And then my favorite part of that, part of that backer survey will, for you personally, will be like I need a picture of you at this age, and I want to be known, right? Because it kind of depends on gender, it depends on which character I put you in as. But I've got a bunch of slots for that, where I know who you could be. Now, my favorite part is, and I put this in the writing up above. It's called. I use it as a warning. How do I write? Okay. While the following note is quite possibly a positive selling point for many, please consider yourself officially forewarned. The chances of your name and likeness being portrayed as an antagonist or an out-and-out villain in the larger story is very, very high.
Can you pay extra to be a villain?
No, you back me here, and you get to be, at a minimum, a nasty, mean person in this.
Oh, I like it. So if you ever wanted to live out your villainous,
you know what? You're going to turn the page, and there will be you on the page. You're going to turn the page, and there's your name on the page. There will be no sympathy for you or any other reader seeing that. So if that freaks you out, that is not your tier of support. If that gets you a little bit excited,
I don't know.
Definitely something.
I think you might have just sold more people, because not gonna lie, a lot of people in my chat more villain than.
You know what? We need them in the world. Does not go around without them. So.
Let's see. Okay, let me go back up here, because I missed a lot of stuff. I was way back in there. It's so hard when you're on there, because it doesn't, like, I can't see what's happening.
Also talk too much, so it's hard for you.
It's perfect. You can talk all you want, and then I will show the things, and then boom, ta-da. Okay, what do we got here? Definitely turn on international. Okay. So do they allow you to pick your shipper on there? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Because I would look into that also, because I know a lot of people in the community who do a lot of selling or do a lot of AOK, especially to Australia. They use pirate ship, and it's supposed to be like, it goes through USPS, but it's supposed to be like not even as expensive as any
part of my cost saving measure was, like, I'm fulfilling it myself. So I definitely don't have a shipper. Like, I'm actually going to be working out of the back of State of Comics, probably fulfilling these. When I'm out in the world when it's time. Are you, BFit, are you being serious?
That's cool,
dude. Okay. So I'm gonna make a special for Beefy Poo here. I'm making a special request. So, like, if you do not follow me on Instagram yet and you're on it, you need to follow me, and I need pictures.
Cool. So there you go.
That's not the Jane American writer in me. That's the history nerd in me. That's so cool.
Yes, and I have linked yours and Annie's Instagrams in the chat, so just go ahead and go click that. If I do have mods, maybe they can, link them. Oh, hey, Mastodon. Oh, wait, here we go.
Is the amount that's funded in relation to the print run of it? I'm not quite sure what that means.
Kyle, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, go ahead and elaborate, but I will try to interpret it the best that I can. So it's the amount that's funded in relation to the print run. If I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, yeah, absolutely. Right? Like, I'm going to print what is ordered and a little over, right? Because I want to keep a couple copies for myself, because I am a collector and a nerd. But yeah, for sure, they're definitely tied, and obviously, like, the limited number are those are the limited number. Like, only 50 of whatever is going to be printed, only 20 of the one, and that kind of thing.
some stragglers coming in here now. Yeah, better late than never. That's right, CJ. Wow, got way more people in here. I'm trying to keep up. I was gone for a while, so if you guys just popping in, I was on the. Okay, so Bleak is saying it doesn't go to Canada then.
Not right now, no. But that's something that, yeah, I know.
Lame. How dare you?
I know that was a decision that I made, and I like honestly, you know, I'm not asking for sympathy or anything, but like if you're gonna cut me some slack, I mean, this is something I built on my own. I mean, I had some editors and I had some people looking at it and proofreading and stuff like that, but this is something I built on my own, and I've never done it before, and I wanted to make sure that what I did could be successful and manageable at the same time as teaching full time, raising 3 kids, and fighting colon cancer. So that's me pulling on your heartstrings and giving me a little sympathy right there.
You kind of had a lot going on in this week alone. You had a lot going on.
Truth. Yeah.
Yes. So also, okay, here is Annie. She is the artist, the interior artist.
Yeah.
Also some of the cover artists, but yeah, she is interior artist. She will be on my show on the 19th, so come and stop by because that's gonna be her first ever interview. So she's adorable. Let's see. Oh yeah, there goes yours. Yeah. So Beef It, follow him there, and then send him all those amazing pictures.
Oh yeah, sure.
Hey, Papa. There you go. Oh, thank you, Glenn. Glenn, gold star, buddy. Let's see what we got up here. Okay, we got all the way down here. Boom. All right. Is there anything that we didn't cover that we were going to talk about?
I think we did a really good job.
I think we did excellent.
I think we are thorough.
Yes. And also we will be Plymouth tomorrow, Michigan.
So can I share before we do that wrap up stuff? Can I share one more little anecdote about the research and then connect to my grandpa?
Talk about whatever you want. I got nowhere to go right now.
So like we talked about, you know, oh, this phone, that ice box, make sure it's right, make sure it's period appropriate.
Yes.
So something that I got to do and something that I got to share with my grandfather too that makes this really special for me. So the wall wire, we've talked a lot about wall wire. Actual factory in Plymouth, right? Great grandfather worked there during the war. My grandfather and I a couple of years ago found it, got in touch with the dude who had recently bought it.
Okay.
And we got to take a tour of the place. Check this out. Literally the week before they tore it apart and segmented it into office space.
Okay.
And what that meant was they had stripped it to its bare bones, meaning what I got footage of and what I got pictures of is exactly what it was in the 40s when it was making the Marsden mats.
That's awesome.
And so
that's cool.
When you see Annie draw the scene with Jane and the factory manager in there when she's asking for the job because financial difficulties after the war, Rosie's are being sent home. She needs to help out the family. When you see the conveyor belts of where the Marsden mats are going, when you see that stairwell right there, which something major is going to happen in that stairwell in the 120-page graphic novel, when you see where that that punch clock is on the wall, that's where it all was back in the 1940s. When you see the brickwork, that's cool. Because that's where it was and what it looked like. So I'm like fired up about that because the history nerd in me, and I got to share it with my grandfather. Like
that's awesome.
He got to walk through that building where his father-in-law worked at, you know, decades and decades ago.
Yeah. So that brings me back to my next question, because when we were just talking about tier 3 of your stretch goals, is that the footage that's going to be included in there?
Well, you better believe there's going to be photographs of the real place in there.
Of course. Yes. I like that. I like that nerd stuff. So what was, okay, let me see. Where did this picture go? This picture here, let me see if I can pull this up and then share screen this. Is this just a photo thingy, or is this from where is this thingy? Slides, no, share screen. Okay, yes. Image, okay, hold on. Image 7. Yeah, we are technically savvy here. Here we go. There we go. Boom. Ta-da. So this right here, this is in the promo pack that you sent me. Is this from that place, or is this from a museum, or you just found this randomly from the 1940s?
That would be the Henry Ford Museum, my friend.
It would be the Henry Ford Museum. Nice.
Yeah, that would be in. You remember when I was telling about the ET cartridges? You just need to go back 4 decades. That is right there.
Okay, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I love this time. They have really cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Wait. How can I stop sharing that? Yeah. So that's pretty deep. That's pretty nice. I love that it was like whole full circle into like Michigan stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
When people talk about Michigan, they don't usually bring up Plymouth.
No.
That's like nobody really knows. Like Plymouth, what is that? You're like, I don't. Yes. Well, that's cool. Anything else you would want to talk about before we head out? Because it's been a
well, I mean, look. This is a message that I've shared the last couple of years because it's true about going to your LCS and picking up indie comics. It's true about ordering through previews indie comics, and it's certainly maybe even doubly true about supporting indie creators on a platform like Kickstarter.
Yeah.
The reality is, every dollar you spend on an indie, it's different. And this is not crapping on the big two. I grew up on the big two, and I still might spend some of my dollars on the big two. But supporting indie is a different thing. You are literally keeping dreams alive. You are, in a lot of cases, putting food on tables and clothes on backs. You are keeping like you buying this tomorrow at State of Comics in Plymouth, Michigan. You buying that keeps a small press company that started off as friends and family in business, right? You support the Kickstarter, and you're allowing me to honor the memory of my grandparents, to honor the children who have gone through my class in the last 23 years who are still struggling with those questions of identity, even in the 21st century. You're allowing me to continue a dream that is so unbelievably humbling that people want to read the words that I'm putting out there that are burning inside of me anyway. Like, you do that with every indie dollar, and it spreads so much further than a lot of other things. So like whether it is, back in this Kickstarter, whether it is buying a copy of Parallel Special Edition, whether it's buying any indie out there, I strongly encourage it, because it's my belief that comics are the most malleable medium out there to tell stories in. Yes. They do things film does, they do things prose does. Together, it's magic that neither of those other two mediums can do. And it's my also firm belief that indie comics are the place that are the most malleable of the most malleable medium, because there's no handcuffing in indie comics of years of editorial mandate about so-and-so can't do this, or this character you can't do that because we own them and you don't. Indie comics are where the most expressive and different and unique stories can be told in comics, and we need to support them, right? And that's what the YouTube community does. That's what the IG community does. That's what we do for each other. And if mine is the one that you want to back, I am honored. Thank you. But as long as you're at least taking some of your money and pushing it towards creators who are just on the edge of, they're either going to get their dream into the world or it doesn't happen, I don't think there's a more honorable way to put a couple of your hard-earned dollars out there if you're going to support somebody.
Definitely. That's actually why I started the series, because for a long time I always did. My favorite thing is I like to promote my other friends and artists, even though I'm an artist myself. Like, I don't consider myself an artist, even though, I do art, but I like promoting them and seeing their art get out there, because that's fun for me. I love that.
Well, Katie,
so that's really one of the reasons why I started this.
So I'm going to be at, I'm one of the featured guests at Traverse City at the convention over Memorial Day, which is, like, it's got the reputation as being like that in Baltimore is like two of the best reputations that for retailers and creators, because it's such a creator friendly show. It's not like some other shows that might be local to us where it's where D-list celebrities go to die. And one of the coolest things about Traverse City as a con is their awards, the Gary Reed Awards. It's not about best writer or best this or best that. It's literally an award for a creator who, above and beyond anything else, is supporting other creators and bringing them up behind them. So like
That's
that,
awesome.
like the most supportive creators get nominated for the Gary Reed, and one of them wins each year. So that's really cool.
That's super cool because I actually like Traverse City. I have a lot of family up there. That's where we go camping. There's some beaches up there that are really
Beautiful.
good, and we go camping on the beach
Yeah.
up there. Also, get yourself some fudge.
Truth.
Get up there. Okay, so Beefit has a question. I don't know if you can read that. What
Oh,
branch of
so
service?
okay. So it's funny. So he was in he was a smart dude, and he took this test before basic training, and they sent him. Are you ready for this? They sent him to Stanford because his IQ was at a certain level. He
Whoa.
basically got, God, I wish I interviewed him like years ago. I spent an entire summer where we sat down and got it all on tape. Okay. And the exact number escapes me, but like he basically got 2.5 years of Stanford education in like 6 months or something like that. It was just all day. And they were training this program. The program gets disbanded at the last minute, but because he had a certain knack for communications that with these Stanford classes, they put him in the Army, but he was one of the communication dudes. So like
Wow.
he's not on the front lines in a foxhole. He's literally between the front lines running wire. And like as soon as something takes over, my grandfather was the dude who's like running immediately after clearing like a Nazi bunker that has communication equipment in it, running
Wow.
in there and converting it immediately so the Allies could use their wires before they got cut and stuff like that. So he was doing that. Like he, one of his most famous stories he used to tell me was like in the Battle of the Bulge, he eventually got cut off, but like was in the middle of the two lines going at it because they were out there trying to keep the wires, together. So that was his job in the war. So it was Army, but like a communications dude, which translated perfectly. He came back and worked for Michigan Bell for the next blah, blah, blah decades.
That has to be extremely scary.
Yeah.
When
I
you're
don't
doing
think
all this.
my understanding is I don't think he fired his rifle once, but he had shells exploding around him as much as anybody in the foxhole because of where
yeah.
they were and where they were running at all times to try to get the job done.
That's got to be, I can't even imagine how just intense and awful that would have been. And I'm so glad to not have to.
Like my dad was a
do that.
Vietnam vet, and like those, it's almost impossible to like make a war film that doesn't glorify it on some level. Even
Yeah.
even war films that are clearly anti-war and super bleak. Like I don't know if anybody saw the recently Academy Award nominated the new German version of All Quiet on the Western Front.
No.
But like it's about as bleak as it can get. And yet, because it's on film, because you're watching it and enjoying it on some level, it glorifies it on some level. But like what I noticed, especially when my dad talked about Vietnam, there was not a single ounce of glorification there because the reality of it is obviously something much different. And there is nobody ever battled.
Best comment of the night. I'm
Glenn, you're selling yourself short. I'm sure there were many battles.
Short. Yeah, life is still out there. You don't know. You might have the biggest battle coming yet. Don't know. Oh wait, here. What do we got here?
Oh wow, look at that. Oh, amazing.
Wow.
Very cool.
And I think a lot of us, because it was mandatory back in those days. So while I think a lot of our relatives, like they were kind of forced into those situations back then. So I think everyone can kind of relate to this story at some point because their grandparents went through this. Yeah. Like even my uncles, they were forced to go to Vietnam and all that stuff. And
oh yeah, my dad was drafted for sure. Yep.
And a lot of people might not know this either, but my ex worked at Fort Meade, so I literally spent 10 years of my life on Fort Meade. And that was just freaking fascinating because you would have people from all the way back to like Korean War and older, and they would just be like mixing with you like at like the food court, and you'd just be talking, and they'd just be talking about random stuff, and it was just absolutely fascinating. And then you could go like to like the little areas where there's like tanks and things and all their historic museum. It's just insane. What do we got here? Yes, somebody did say bleak. That was him.
Yep.
Where'd my fingers go? Silver Star is a serious metal.
That's truth.
What we got here? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. What time is it? Okay. We almost did 2 hours. Whoa. That flew by. Like I was like, what? Are you kidding me?
I should probably be a responsible parent and go feed a child.
Maybe I should probably eat for the first time today because I was running around. I forgot to do that. But I have some frozen pizza. Oh, I can't wait.
Let's do it.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Gonna do that. So
I'm gonna have a boring salad.
Boring salad.
My colon is a mess right now.
Yeah, roughage with salad is really gonna help that.
Right.
Yeah. So tomorrow, Michigan peeps, come hang with us. That starts at 12 tomorrow.
Starts at 12. Ryan thinks I should be kicked out at 5. I'm gonna probably stay longer than that.
Okay. I will be heading towards Green Break, and I will be pimping out your stuff to them, and then I'll meet up with you after probably 12:30ish.
Okay.
Let me know if you need snacks. I will bring you snacks. Okay. And then I can hang all day. I mean, it's free comic book day. Plus, I've never actually been to State of Comics. I've bought from them at cons, but I've never been there.
You're gonna love it. It's a success story. Like Ryan started off free shirts. I'll always show
also
off.
Great font on that.
Yeah.
Can we yeah.
Truth, right. It started off in this tiny little storefront, like the kind of comic shop that's got the wall of new issues and like maybe room for like 3 long boxes of back issues, maybe,
Okay.
like
yeah.
1 glass display case with some toys. And he has very much since, through the ingenuity and acumen of being a pretty good businessman, upgraded. And it's a big store now. They've got a boba tea shop in the front. They got an arcade in the back. You're going to love it. It's really cool.
When I saw the pictures of it, I couldn't grasp how huge this was because they were full on. Like, there's going to be the mystery machine there tomorrow and the Batmobile.
I know.
In there. And I'm seeing, like, how far back and around it goes around the cars. And I'm like, dang. It's got to be huge. Also, I did buy books from them when I was at Astronomicon. That's where I got my wartime stories from. Right. And I bought that, and I had to get it.
Like tomorrow there's going to be, there's free comic book day. There's the mystery machine and the Batmobile are going to be there. There's face painting for the kids.
Yes.
There's basically I'm like 10th on the bill is really what the reality of what we're trying to say here is.
But we're going to grab all those people as they walk through, and then we're going to
pitch a book, and we're going to pitch a Kickstarter.
Pitch all this stuff. Yeah.
Because if you're in the area, you want to win one of the last 2 of these.
You want to win that. That is some sexy stuff right there. Also, we got one more question. What are you all looking forward to for Comic Book Day? Hang around with him. I'll be hanging around with him. Yep. And
oh my God, I'm gonna be hanging around with her. Did you just see me point the wrong way? Because I
don't know which one. I'm mirrored, so I don't know which finger is going where. So yeah, we're gonna be hanging out tomorrow. And your bitchin' stands will be there with your banners.
That's right. I'm gonna look so professional tomorrow. I got my own table. I got my own banner.
Yeah. We'll definitely have to go live and harass some people and show off your banners. We'll do that. Cool. Thank you. Kyle, you gonna be doing anything since you asked the question? Healthy snacks, but I will bring any snacks. Really
I'm not allowed. Like red meat is gone out of my diet. Sugar is supposed to be gone. Definitely anything with caffeine in it is gone. So my snacking days are not very exciting anymore. I got to be smart.
Yes. Yes, but I will be on my way from down here to there. So if you need me to stop, you just let me know. Hey, Ozzy. There are a lot of people saying wishing you luck. Whoa, I just moved the thing and then went up like a lot. What's up? You? K-pop variant. That'll be tomorrow, JD. I'm glad you sent you something in the mail. I'll draw you some art. Oh no! Boo! Is there a book that you were looking to get? Because you can usually go to A to Z like a couple days later, and the guy will be like, "I got leftovers. Take whatever you want." So if I do that, I will grab you some books. Oh, here's a question. Are you going to be going to New York in the future?
If New York invites me, I will be there.
Well, he's from New York and he's inviting you. So. He's like, yeah, all right. No coffee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, best of luck to you. Hey, Mister, you are also an equally amazing artist, and I have boxes and walls full of your art everywhere. So you will also be there one day. So, there you go. Well, I think it's about time we go get some food. It's almost 2 hours. Let's go do this. Oh, are you going to be on any other shows coming up? These guys will come
Oh,
harass
I
you?
might be going live with Gary, that some of you guys know, in about 40 minutes. So yeah.
Oh, well, look at that. So part 2, you could go head over there and harass him even more. So if there's any questions you couldn't think of now, go ask him when you go see Gary.
Cool. Thank you so much for the time. This was so much fun.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad we met. And you know what's funny? Because Gary was like, hey, my bro has a thing coming up. Does anybody want to do a thing? I was like, I've seen that guy. Sure, come on my show. And then look at this. We're now friends forever now. Because
awesome.
Boom,
well, I'm not going to say goodbye because I'm going to see you tomorrow. But
yeah, that's also true.
This was a blast. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks everybody for listening. Go back to Kickstarter. Come and see me tomorrow if you're local. And let's just keep this thing going, okay?
Hey, Mo. Okay. So I had to say hi. Bye-bye. All right. So let's end this and let's go get food, everybody. Bye. Thanks for stopping by. It's probably going to take like 9 hours to end. So